Hello, foodies, and welcome back to FUT IN review, powered by footcoaching.com. We are recording episode 446, and of course, this is all made possible by you, our listeners, viewers, and of course, our Patreon supporters. Go check out patreon.com/FUT IN review to check what a buck a week ad support can bring you. And of course, a special shout out to our Skybox owners who are Reese, Amar, Daniel, Archon, and Nick because they support us in the highest tier available, which gives them a free coaching session, including a coaching call, and involves them with everything we do. My name is John, and I'll be your host today. And today we'll talk the really early release of FIFA 23. We take a look at the latest FIFA 22 content. We touch about the chemistry style changes in FUT 23, and our main topic, of course, tonight is all about toxic behavior. What is it, and what can you do about it? And of course, I'm not doing this show alone because it's Friday, which means the man with the many nicknames, but also called the Food Gaffer, Mr. Food Database, the King of the North, and basically he's just a legend. It's none other than co-creator of this podcast. It's Ingve.
Hello, hello.
Hello, my friend. How you doing? Yeah, let's hope so. So for everyone, rough start of the evening. Nothing happening personally with Ingve. We just had some technical issues where we had an amazing amount of delay on Ingve's side, which is always a bit frustrating to say the least. Anyways, we are joined not only by you, Ingve, not only by me, but we are joined with someone that's a very active member of our community, and he's been on board for a couple of, well, I think maybe years now. It's friend of the show, part of the Food and Review family. You might know him as ohbuggerit, sending in all those questions for us, and we like to introduce him as Simon. Hey, Simon, how you doing?
Good, thank you, John. Yeah, thank you for having me on your show. It's a pleasure. And yeah, you've been keeping me company on my dog walks for a couple of years now. So I guess it's time I uh, said hello.
It's good to have you on, though. It's very good to have you on. Um, you brought up the toxicity topic, which we're gonna be talking about today. But before we do that, though, would you be so kind to shortly introduce yourself to the people listening?
Yeah, sure. I'm an old gamer, so well, close to 50 now. So I've been playing FIFA since like 98 on the N60 Nintendo 64, I think. So a long time. Then switched over to PES like everyone of my sort of age, and yeah, I had various gaps, but yeah, came back to FIFA a couple of years ago. Lockdown related thing, like many other people, I guess. And I think always before in the past with FIFA, I kind of messed around with foot, but usually gave up around Christmas when I was way behind the curve and would then play the career mode. But then, with the help of your podcast and the community, yeah, I've kind of got into it and yeah, started to be hold my own, shall we say, for an old man. Hold my own.
Old age is all relative, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Most players we are coaching at food coaching think I'm old, but then again, so to say, my kids are say I'm old as well. So I guess it's all relative. But it's good to have you on.
Yeah.
Let's not make it your only show. Let's make it this your debut series. But anyways, let's go into the topics because we have a lot of discuss. Of course, we are now bringing you one show a week. We will remain until one show a week until there's actually more content being brought out or more things we can actually make sense of because we discussed maybe start September that first week with 3 times a week again. But I don't think there's honestly too much content, which makes good content for listening in 3 times a week. So we'll remain on 1 times a week until we find the time is right. But always when release of FIFA 23 hits, of course, we'll be in full swing and there will definitely be 3 episodes a week again. So keep that going. Ingvi, I already discussed this twice today with you, but I started up my Xbox on Wednesday. About to start the FIFA 23 beta for the last day that it was available, and I got a pop up. It said FIFA 23 is now ready to play, and that was not the beta.
No, it was the full game. So somebody pressed the wrong button, I think, and a few lucky people got to test the game.
Yeah, the real game, which normally isn't too bad because people are playing the beta as well, but it did throw a spanner in EA's marketing campaign of releasing all the ratings. Because if you have the full game, you also have all the ratings. So those are now out in the open,
That is correct.
which, yeah, which is a bit. Is it a shame? Like, I honestly don't care too much, but it did give us usually something cool to discuss about. I think the biggest news is Ronaldo being a 90 rated card now.
Yeah, Ronaldo, Messi starting closer to the other guys, so it's not a big gap between those and the other up and coming. So that of course makes it more room to get special cards that will be more noticeable when they get upgraded as well, though.
Maybe he gets the easier upgrade though this year now because his one to watch took a while to get upgraded. Anyways, I don't think he will get many times to play actually at United this year. So who knows how much upgrades he actually gets, right?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. He can be substituted and score 3 goals, so you never know.
That's definitely true. What do you want to talk about when considering FIFA? Because I think I got some questions. People saying, "Hey, these guys got 2 hours advantage." I'm pretty sure they wipe all the progress, anyways. If you spend points, you get your points back. If you could even spend it, I'm not even sure. So don't worry about people starting early and get a 2 hours head start. And even if they had a 2 hours head start, you can't do that much in 2 hours. So don't wouldn't worry too much about it. It was just an unfortunate mistake. It's done. And it was funny because I saw the whole media collapsing over it one day later, but it was so already fixed like 20 hours earlier than the, most of the press posted it out, which is always funny to see. Um, and here we are talking about it on a podcast 3 days later, which doesn't make sense either. Anyways, FIFA 22. It is not ending yet because we have a lot of content. And if we could actually fill the whole show with it, Ingvi, talked about the FIFA 22 content, what is there that you want to discuss? And I have to put out there before I give you the word that it's probably best that Simon responds on most this because I got to be honest, my after playing FIFA 23 for the last weeks on the beta, I have zero interest for the last 2 weeks to actually go into FIFA 22 myself anymore.
Well, I'll do my best. I've been winding down myself as well a bit, although I've probably played a bit more than you at least.
I can just remind people that there's around 22 hours left of the Tejas and Kunde showdown if you want to do that before the deadline. And both cards look really good, so and good value I think for coins. And we also got uh, Raheem Sterling Moments card, celebrating his transfer to Chelsea, a centre forward card, 97 rated, costs 140, 150k, 5-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot, high medium work rates, of course, with the unique body type. Looks like a fun card. Some people probably say that he should have gotten a 5-star weak foot as well, but I still think he should be fine if you play him wide. I don't know if I would play him striker since he only has 75 strength now, and facing all those big guys is not going to be easy, I think.
Simon, anything to add?
Yeah, I was going to say he it doesn't look sort of that exciting to me. I mean, certainly wouldn't get into my side. I think this stage of the game, if you've been playing a long time, you want 5-star, 5-star, really. So I think good for Chelsea fans, but for everyone else, kind of a bit meh, really. For a Spurs fan, definitely meh.
Fair enough, I understand that. We also did get a year in review player pick from SBC's released in June and July. So if you didn't select Kim Pembe from the swaps, there's an option to get him as a player pick, both versions, both the 92 and 95, which is a little bit cool. So and of course you can get the shapeshifter hero, Milito, and Solskjaer as well, and some Futties cards, of course. So it's priced at around 80k, so maybe worth a few rolls if you get some duplicates from the 85 times 10.
Yeah, that definitely sounds interesting. There's quite a few SBCs I've missed recently, so could be worth doing.
And we also got a preseason batch. We also got a preseason batch 2 player pick. So there's 200 players now in special cards in packs. So there's a good chance that you will get well, something hopefully usable. Cost around the 60k to do, 50, 60.
85-10 before we just now before we started, and every card was a special card. So that's much more that's much more improved than last week, where it was just full of gold cards really. So worth doing the 85-10 now.
It's not my favorite, honestly. I've been doing it all week. I've not been playing, but for some reason I am doing those SBCs on dull moments. But it's like I got as my last four, I got three times Suarez, which is like okay, which makes the next one a bit cheaper. But it's also there's so many good cards in it now that it's really hard to say okay, this card's gonna bring me back to actually playing. And unless you're gonna farm into Ronaldo or stuff, which I'm definitely not gonna put any effort in on currently. It's like yeah, but it's schools out there, but I don't understand them. Maybe if you can answer, why isn't it still unlimited, or is it now unlimited because it was times 10 and then times 10? It's weird, right?
Still times 10. I think it's a few more days and then we'll get unlimited rolls. I kind of wish that would start today, but maybe on Monday. I don't know why they're holding it back, but yeah, we're like 20 days from the pre-release of FIFA 23, so it's never too early to start these now.
I don't blame people for doing it. I think for me this year, I'm not going to go too crazy on it. I think last year I did so many of those 85-10s and built all the different icons that were available, etc. Used them for a couple 2 weeks, and then it was a new game, and you think, what was the point of that then, really? So yeah, so this time I don't think I'll do Ronaldo and the others. It's just I'll do the odd one here and there and see if I can get any of the uh, really big cards, but they don't seem to come to me. So I have a block on those big players, I would say.
What else did we get? It's what is worth mentioning.
We got an objectives player, Mr. Ndombele, playing for Napoli now. 96 rated cam with 4-star skill moves, 5-star weak foot, high medium work rates as well. Also a unique body type. Looks like a quite fun player. It's not too bad. You can do it either in rivals or squad battles on professional. You need to assist the goal using French players in 5 separate matches. You need to score 4 goals while having at least 5 French players in your starting 11. And you need to assist 3 goals using through balls while having at least 3 French players in your starting lineup. And the last one is score using Serie A players in 5 separate matches. So this is either squad battles on minimum professional or in rivals. So many people can just unlock it by playing rivals if they want to do that, or do some objectives in squad battles. It's going to be very easy to unlock that card. So at worst, you'll have 96 rated father.
Another Suarez.
Yeah, I think he looks interesting, Ender to me. So yeah, I might unlock him if I do some rivals and can jig my team around to unlock him. Then I might give that a go.
Yeah, I really, like I
Yeah,
said, I've got to be quite honest.
yeah,
I'm not too bothered anymore by actually trying this. So, yeah, not much I can add to it. I think it's cool though that they'll put all those players out, and every new one looks better than the previous one, right? And I feel that my team is outdated, although it's full with team of the year players, which is also a team of season players, which is also a bit weird, of course. But basically, it's just enjoy yourself. Although I'm pretty sure, and especially I can feel it on Xbox when I see. I had someone from Egypt sending me in some matches, and he said from the last 5 matches he played 3 times the same players in rivals. So I think many people just said, you know what, let's return in 3 weeks or 4 weeks officially, and it's okay.
yeah. Yeah, no, I've noticed when I do play that the connection isn't as good and it takes longer to get a game and stuff like that. So definitely, people are on their FIFA holidays now, aren't they?
Yeah. A funny story about connection though. Um, I was complaining about the FIFA 23 beta that the connection was really bad for me, right? But I have to raise my hand and say I'm sorry because this one was my own fault. So I don't want to boast about my internet, but I got pretty good nets. Everything's cabled, all devices cabled. But what happened is I put the PlayStation somewhere else for streaming and making sure I get everything going. Not Stream 23, of course, but Pro Clubs. Um, and apparently, if you move your PlayStation, you take the cable out of it from one place and you put the cable into it on the other side. And in the meanwhile, it can actually connect to your Wi-Fi, so it doesn't automatically take over your cabled connection. So I was just playing on Wi-Fi,
Ah.
and actually, Wi-Fi sucks. Even though my internet's really fast and everything's stable,
Yeah.
and even the Wi-Fi is supposed to be really stable. Once I went to the settings and put it back on enter cable or Ethernet connection, everything was really smooth. Um, so if you have a PlayStation 5 and you might think you are on the cable, check it once more because it's a bit frustrating that it doesn't actually pick it up automatically, which an Xbox actually does do. So sorry for complaining about the connection on the beta. Sorry about all the messages and examples I sent to EA. With look at this, this is unplayable. I did provide feedback, but this feedback wasn't maybe
Oops.
Uh,
wasn't really. Everything was well built, but this one was my own. So sorry in hindsight. Ingve, anything to add about FIFA 22, mate?
22? No, I'm just gonna have fun doing the 85 times 10 now and grind those SPCs.
Just enjoy. Shall we talk chemistry though
Yeah.
in FIFA 23? Because we had a lot of challenges, and this year on the beta, I can talk about the beta. I think actually, but to be sure, I'll check next time and take a deep dive. But they did a lot of tuning on the chemistry, and they gave us a lot of cards every single day to make sure we got all the chemistry setting right, and to see how we build teams and stuff. And they changed the chemistry after the beta, so it's actually there's an updated list about um, the chemistry styles and how much stars you get and stuff. But also, and this one is interesting. I don't know if you have seen it, Simon, but they did add also the bonuses on every single position with every single stat with every single chemistry style attribute as well. Have you seen that, Simon?
I haven't seen that. No, no. Fill me in.
All right, I'll fill you in. So we can have players on 1 star, and they get a. They used to say it's a low increase on stats. Actually, it doesn't necessarily have to be that low. Usually it's 1, 2, or 3 on May stats. They have like fully tables, like Excel tables. It's really, really nicely shown. I would really advise everyone to just, we'll put this link in the description. Just have a look, print it somewhere, or put it on your screen, whatever, right? When you start the game, because I do think it's interesting. But the bonuses for 1 star are, I think it's all right. It's well planned. The bonuses, of course, for the 2 stars, I think are decent. So if you have someone on 2 stars, I think it's fine. And of course, 3 star is more. And I think, for example, if we have a powerhouse on a player on 2, he gets +8 vision. And if you have him on 3, he gets +15 vision. But that's about the biggest changes, the biggest gap you can have between 2 and 3. So it's definitely worth getting players on 3 still. But I don't think it's that bad if you have them on 2, if I'm quite honest. So that was something I said before. If we know how much actually this increases, it really helps. Um, what they did do, they changed all the chemistry styles. But if I'm quite honest, I can't see what changed in the previous one. So they did give an update on how it looks now, but I can't really find it hard to compare how it actually was in the beta. But by the looks of it, Ingv, if you have 7 players now from the same country, league, all those 7 players are always on 3, right?
Yeah, it looks like that, and that's good.
Yeah, so I think it's fine. I ran a poll about this though, and I wanna before I show you guys the results, I wanna ask you if you guys what you guys do. So I think the biggest advance of the new chemistry style function is that if you are not too bothered by having your every single player on 10 chemistry style, but on 100 team chemistry as you used to have, which for now doesn't matter. So you just want maximum chemistry on players while having everyone on 10, which means you would now have them on 3. Um, then it's going to be harder to get them all on 3. I think it's actually Much easier if you are like me and used to have 2 or 3 players on 7, but 100 chemistry in total, to make a pretty cool balanced team without looking too much at links and stuff. Um, but I felt I was the only one who actually sort of digged the new system. So I asked, and this is my question to Simon first, which chemistry, but chemistry updated, here's a new poll to talk about the show. In FIFA 22, how did you build your team? Did you put all your players on 10? Did you just want it to 100 team chemistry or anything else?
I was pretty much always 10. I, I mean, obviously now, right now, at this stage of the game, I know it doesn't matter so much because the players are also good anyway. But I still can't help myself. Uh, I don't know why, but yeah, it bugs me if someone's not on 10 chem, and so I will spend hours and hours on that bin squad builder, changing things around until I've got them all on perfect 10, and that's what I do. So yeah, I hopefully, I don't mind the chemistry change as long as it doesn't lead to kind of stagnant team building and everyone sort of looking the same. So as long as that doesn't happen, then yeah, I mean, change is good, and if it helps new players in the game, then I think that's good too because it's quite complicated. I know when I was more of a casual player, I really couldn't get my head around the chemistry. So uh, yeah, so that will help.
Ingve, all on 10 or just 100 team cam?
100 team cam is fine for me.
I'm in the same opinion, right? As long as they were on 100, I couldn't care less. As long as I could use the best players possible on every position, I made it work. Of course, changing positions around is now a bit harder. So I ran that poll, um, and 57% of all players says, "Hey, I just want to put them all on 10. Whatever happens, I want to put them on 10." And 35% says, "Just need 100 team cam," and then 8% says different, but they didn't really comment. So don't know what's different about that. Ryan Hampton, of course, Pro Club's director of team foot coaching, says, I always went for everyone on 10. However, if there's a player that was worth having that I couldn't find, then a minimum of 7. It was always calculated no longer than 7. Well, you don't have negative impacts anymore. So I think that's the same as I would. Hey, I could fit in a Neymar over any other player. I fit in Neymar even on non boost. John, Talking Foot says, I work on 100 first, ideally all on 10, would have a maximum of 2 on 7 chemistry. And even then, it felt wrong. And of course, friend of the show, Simon says, other Simon says, Simon said it best. This is, of course, he says, well, the thing is, if you put it, I always want to have them all on 10 because if I do miss a shot, I'm always wondering if that's because of the lower chemistry, which I think is also a way of looking at it. Um, my conclusion to all this, and I wanted to know if you guys agree or not. My conclusion of all this is that I quite like the system. I think it brings more diversity, especially at starter squads. It's pretty easy, I found in the beta, to build teams which are just viable to be used without breaking the bank and actually trying to force players in. But if you are in doubt of your own players when they are not on max chemistry, I think it's going to be harder. But then again, just make one league team and you're probably fine as well. Right? So is it that hard? I don't know. Simon already said that he wants to change is good. We'll have a look. Ingvi, have you experienced yet? What's your thoughts?
If I've experienced,
The new chemistry style. You haven't played the beta, I think, but what do you think so far?
first I thought it was really well. It looked really difficult to know how it worked, but it looks a little bit better now. But I don't know if I'm. I need to see how the players perform, even though without boost, with boost, etc. Before I make up my mind. But at the moment, I'm a little bit skeptical.
Ah, that's fair. We'll have a look once actually. And if you have played the beta, let us know your opinion. Just tweet at us at Food Coaching or any other social media, of course, or mail us at podcast@foodcoaching.com. You can now directly mail us as well, or leave us a voice message. There's a link if you check out the podcast. You can just click it, send in your link. It can take your voice message. It can take up to 1 minute, and we'll play it on the show as well because we're curious what you think. But so far, I like it. There is something which I have to discuss briefly, though, and it has nothing to do, and I didn't talk about it into the introduction, but it's all about pro players. We have the first information out about FIFA 23 professional play. Um, who remembers last year that I said I can't imagine crossplay coming to the consoles, even if it is technically able to, because I think PlayStation still has 1 year left on his pro contract, that it's the pro scene is PlayStation exclusive, and when it's crossplay, it doesn't make sense to do that. Well, I was of course very much wrong with not having crossplay, which is a good thing. I was wrong there, but I was right about the deal still being on, because the pro scene is still PlayStation 5 exclusive on a cross-platform game. I'm I'm stumped. I don't know what to think about it. Simon, any thoughts on this?
I think just sounds like a big mess up, doesn't it? They've just not done any kind of planning at all. Um, Decided to add crossplay and then gone, oops, and probably got in a bit of a row behind the scenes with Sony, and probably Sony dug their heels in, and yeah, they've got a contract, I suppose, so they have to honour it. So that's what I imagine has happened. So
It's weird, and I also think again very late. It's 3 weeks before the release, right? Or for almost 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks. It's a bit late to think about. Most pro players and organizations already well bought or scalped their PlayStations for the team last year, so I don't think it affects as many people this year as it was last year. But what I do mind about this, and I know that's not often thought about, but if you are on Xbox, because for example, Xbox is the only console you can pretty much buy. Like everyone can buy a Series S in every store now, but you can still hardly get a PlayStation in most places. But if that's all you can get, and you have it, you have no chance of becoming pro, no matter how good you are. And I think that's always a bad choice to exclude people for chasing dreams, but something that's actually not within their reach.
hmm yeah, especially if you're a young up and coming player, you might suddenly, might have only picked up the game fairly recently as a young player, but suddenly find you've got a bit of a talent for it, and you can't sort of make a career out of it, can you? So
Yeah. While you're still playing those same players every single week at league and division rival match, which also makes it really hard. So the situation we can actually have is that because we have combined leaderboards now, you can actually become like number one in the world in rivals and get the best rating, but you can't qualify because you're not on PlayStation, which feels really weird for me though. Uh, I think enough said about it. I see Ingve's face and says enough. You really don't like this, Ingve, don't you?
No.
It's a weird situation overall. Second change, the last change I'm going to talk about esports scene is this. When you qualified, so you make your amount of division rival skill ratings, you get invited to the qualifiers. That is, if you're on PlayStation, then those qualifiers are separate tournament days, like in a weekend, played online mostly. And the the hard part there was that even though you might not need to spend a lot of money to actually get into those qualifiers, once you hit the qualifiers and you hit the big opponents, they usually have spent a lot of money. So you'll be run over by the gullets and stuff, the big players that were available at that stage. Now, in the new version of FIFA, the FIFA 23, the qualifiers, you are allowed to use lone players, which is a whole other dynamic of interesting. It has a good point and a bad point. I think the good point about it is, of course, hey, it makes it more affordable. But suddenly, lone players in a competitive mode also feel a bit of. What's your thoughts about that, Simon?
how many lone players? Is it just one or is it unlimited?
It doesn't say yet.
Yeah, I think if it's just one, I don't see that as being a major problem, and it does level the playing field a bit for everyone, I guess. But if it's 11 lone players running around, then yeah, I wouldn't sort of agree with that, and it potentially could even ruin the sort of variety because then everyone can pretty much get hold of a lot of the best players, can't they? So through the loans. So yeah, one player, not a problem, but any more than that, then that would be not right for me.
I think those are all friendly matches. So if you have your Mbappe from your first objective, you can do actually in FIFA 23. Spoiler alert. You can get a free loan Mbappe. Just save that Mbappe. If you decide to go pro and manage to qualifiers, it'll probably save you 1,000,000 coins when you actually have to build your team for the qualifiers. And in best case scenario, just do every single loan player you can get your hands on, just to make sure that if you want to go pro, you don't have to spend too much when you're actually there.
What you're saying is I can go pro now.
You could. Why not? Sky's the limit, right? Who says
I
age?
have
Who says
improved
age is a
recently.
limitation? Who
I
says
don't
age
know.
is a limitation to
Yeah.
what you can achieve, right? I had a conversation this morning with a trainee, and he said, "Well, what if we talked about something. He said, "What if I fail?" I said, "Look at the other way around. What if you start to fly? What happens then?" So who knows? Sky's the limit. Let's go for it, right?
I think I have a ceiling.
Well, I already have. I'm 37, so I thought about, but this year I've definitely noticed with training with some of these pros, like, okay, I am maybe not, I don't feel that old, but I definitely am slower than I used to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, well. Oh, but mindset is also very important. And let's talk about mindset about it for the final topic of this show tonight. Because I saw a message from you, Simon, that says if there's nothing changed about the toxicity and how EA deals with toxicity in the game, I might actually not buy FIFA 23. Of course, we can't really have that because we want to have you on more shows. So there's already a reason to buy it there. And I ask you, okay, Simon, um, it feels a little bit harsh, maybe. Can you, for me, but also I don't notice toxicity that much, right?
Yeah.
Can you, for me, summarize what
I,
are your toxicity points in Ingve? One Simon says some. One, can you say if you feel the same?
Okay.
I mean, before I sort of start saying about the things that annoy me, I should say that it's not only the toxicity. To be fair, it's also the grinding aspects. You know, I spent a lot of hours on the game, and I think I'm just wondering if I really want to put all the energy that I have put into 21 and 22 into 23 again. Um, but I think it's that combined with some of the toxic things that happen in the game, um, and it's that combination I think that is making me weigh up whether I'll get 23 or not, or just take a break. So, but yeah, I mean, of the toxic things, the worst one, and I know you've spoken about it on here before, is the quitting on a draw. And I played a few games of weekend league earlier this afternoon, and probably about a third of the games I played ended in somebody quitting on a draw, either when it was 0-0, you got to like 20, 30 minutes or something, or if I equalised or they equalised. So it's just a big waste of time because you get nothing for it. It's just makes weekend league even longer. You have to put in even more time, and rivals is the same. You just get nothing for it. And I know there might be issues with EA fixing that in terms of some kind of cheating going on, perhaps that they're worried about if they give points um, to people after quitting. But I think they need to address it because the problem's got worse throughout the life cycle. I mean, at the start of FIFA 22, it wasn't really happening very much. Now, as I said, in about a third of your games, it feels like somebody quits out. Um, and then I look ahead to 23. Is the problem going to get worse? Is it going to get better? I don't know because EA don't talk about it. They haven't mentioned it. No, not you know. If they'd said in a pitch note, "Oh, yeah, we are aware of the problem around you know draw quitting, and we're going to address it in FIFA 23," then great. Yeah, I'm on board. I probably would buy it. But the fact that they haven't mentioned it, that does worry me. And then there's other stuff which I know probably a lot of it you can get rid of, but things like the shadows on the pitches with some of the stadiums. I don't know if that's toxic or not. It feels like it is that people are
But it's
doing it deliberately.
frustrating for you.
Yeah, it is. Do you find that, Ingve? I guess so.
Yeah, it's annoying with those shadows and some of the goal lines when they showed up as well with the colors, and it's almost impossible to see the lines. And it's like
Is that still true though? You can now set your own player
I
lines, and
think you
goals,
can
right?
choose
So
now,
you
yeah,
can.
but you couldn't in the beginning.
No, but I think
Yeah,
that's something
yeah,
they fixed really well.
Yeah,
We were very vocal about that. People with green lines
yeah.
or red on green, and you can't see it.
yeah.
That's just annoying if you're colorblind. So
Yeah, and to be fair to EA, so they have made steps. Yeah, I mean they got rid of, you don't have to watch the celebrations, do you? But again, with the celebrations, it's a bit of a rubbish choice to me because you either have to watch the celebrations or you watch your own players trudge back looking miserable. So I'd rather watch the celebrations, to be honest. But I just think, why have cutscenes? Why have them? Why do they? Why not just keep it to the bit where you run around doing a windmill or something, and then boom, straight back to the center circle. Why there's no need for the
uh,
cutscenes.
I know why though, because if you, for example, because I was one of the players like, "You just skip it all. Who cares? Just continue playing." Then we started broadcasting, and then those are the moments where you talk to your crowd, to your audience, or where you talk a quick heads up for your team. So in pro clubs, you can see the goal. The moment they are celebrating, you don't skip it. You just say, "Okay, guys, I want you guys to do this or pay focus on this,"
Okay.
and that takes like 10 seconds, and then the kickoff is already there.
Yeah.
What I do personally, for example, is when I see that and someone scores again, I don't even watch the screen. I just turn away, take a sip of my drink, and I'll be ready for the restart.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things is that the other players might not be ready, and I score from kickoff, which is mildly frustrating for them as well. So it's also, I think, many of these things, which I definitely agree that they can be very frustrating, right? But many of these things, I think, either EA built a fix into this, and some things are just, I mean, that's just in game. If you're playing Halo and someone teabags you, yeah, you can't really turn away from that either. That still
No,
happens.
exactly, and it's always been in games, hasn't it? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, teabagging is the famous example, isn't it? Yeah,
If you don't know what it is, you listen to the show, just
go
Google
look
it
it up.
and don't go.
Yeah. um,
If you know what it is, because you're now looking at like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know what to
who knows?
say.
Oh, okay, never mind. It is when you actually go sitting on someone when you shoot him. I've shot him, I should say. All right. No, but I agree on you. Ingrid, most of these things were frustrating for you as well. I think, Simon, you said something about sounds.
Well, yeah. So, and this is what worries me because they they haven't addressed it, and then B, they're adding in things that I think will just be toxic again. So they're talking about adding sounds for goals. So when people score a goal, and it's just the sound that's going to be in there is something horrific. I mean, I don't even know what the sounds are going to be, but you can absolutely guarantee that a lot of players are going to pick the most horrendous, annoying sound that they can find to go with their goal. So um, that to
Is my
me,
time to say that might be the Ajax team song?
yeah, it could be. So I just think that if they're doing stuff like that, it almost feels like sometimes that EA actually want a level of toxicity in the game because that probably does drive some pack sales. Because if someone's not only beaten you but rubbed your face in the dirt by you know doing line dances and everything else, then you feel bad. And what do you do if you feel bad? Then you get the wallet out um, and buy packs. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if EA have calculated that they need a minimum amount of toxic behaviour in there to sell a certain number of packs.
That's a good one. Ingvi, do you think it's on purpose that there are things that might make it more toxicity, or is it all about customization and toxicity could be just one thing that adds up
I
to it?
don't think EA look at it as toxicity because I think they think users want to have their own kind of cool stuff if they score a goal to kind of motivate them to listen to that sound and maybe buy some of them later that's being released for coins or points only to get something from that as well. But I just when I started playing FIFA, I struggled a lot because of the commentators and the public, the fans were making noise, and I was like getting nervous because of that. So I just turned off the sound in FIFA 11, I think, and I've not played with sound after that. So because it makes me more stressed. So if I want to hear the sounds, I can save a replay and then listen to how it sounds in game.
That is a good comment, though. It's something I've been doing ever since working with one of the former pros, Quinton. He said, like we were working at final, and he's, you know what? Um, as a pro athlete, you want to make sure everything around you is the same. Everything you can influence, you make it the same, right? So you start every match the same. You start everything feels the same. You take the same controller, same seat, etc. And one of the things he did, he turned all the sounds off except the actual football sound. So hitting the ball, passing around, hitting the post, but no stadium sounds, nothing that can be dynamic, no music in game. Like every other sounds is turned off, commentary is turned off, and these sounds, which Simon mentioned, can be turned off as well. And I think if you turn them all off and you keep everything the same, you can't really be triggered by it. If you don't see the replays, I'm not triggered by it. If you don't, I don't know what else there is to triggered by it. But because I was wondering what else could be triggering you, I've asked, of course, our friends at social media, our fans. So I think many of these we can actually go into, and everyone's like, But there's a couple of things that stood out, and many people said. Old Man FIFA says, in the weeks where everyone is playing Golden Goal in a regular game mode and my opponent immediately pauses after scoring for me to quit and I'm just too slow in hitting the button, well, I'm all in now. We're playing all 90 minutes.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
We spoke about that before, right? I think we all have that now. Simon said it best, says passing around the back to time waste, trying to fake shot or jiggle your way through defenses based on glitching through tackles as opposed to well-timed skills into space. Also, running to the camera after a goal, shushing, and possession play in general can be toxic if it's overdone. In my honest opinion, many of those things can be terminated as well. And passing around the back might be frustrating. And I think what I've seen in FIFA 23, it's actually you can still pass around the back, but it's a bit easier to press. So
Yeah, hopefully that fixes it because I think, I pass around the back myself, of course, at times if you're trying to hold on to a lead and it's last few minutes or whatever. But there's a difference, isn't there, when someone's passing around between the centre back and the keeper, and that's all they're doing from like the fifth minute. It's just, I mean, if they're doing it these days, I probably would just quit out, to be honest, because it's not even worth playing somebody like that if that's how they're going to behave.
it's different when it's your step up to Div 1 rivals or Elite later on. But I do get what you're saying, right? Um, Foot AST Andrew says quitting in the game. Well, I think we all talk about that one, quitting and not getting anything about it. It has absolutely has to be fixed. I think we all agree on. Slight spoiler: I can already say FIFA 23 so far. It's not fixed yet. Let's wait till the final release. I think my biggest frustration is they don't talk about this.
Yeah,
This is my biggest
yeah.
frustration.
If they came out and said there's a reason we haven't fixed it because we're worried about, I don't know, coin farming or whatever it is, then okay, then at least we understand what the reason is, and if they say to us, look, we're working to try and kind of solve it, then we can be a bit patient, I think. But the fact that they say nothing is, yeah, that's
Mildly infuriating.
yeah,
Jesse Stickstomper says everything about Golden Goal. Also, the messages. I just stopped playing friendly mode. I think everyone is agreeing on Golden Goals. Um, at I times 11 says I don't like playing Golden Goal. So when my opponent scores first, I play on. I'm quickly bombarded with messages telling me to quit, or they pass around the back for the remainder of the match. Pretty clear. Quadra says a couple of things that have bugged me this year. One, disconnecting when a penalty is given. Yeah. Two, quitting at 0-0. And three, passing around the defense back down, wasting a friendly when it's not a golden goal mode. Yeah, I think most of the people have always the same complaints. And I think the frustrating part is most of it can be fixed. I think many of the points you mentioned, Simon, except the grinding part, can be turned off in game, and they already did a good part of trying to fix it.
yeah,
Some of the things you can't really fix it. I think that, like Simon said it best. running towards the camera. You can still turn off celebration. You don't see that, so turn it off. You don't see it, right? Same goes with the shushing and stuff. I think most of those don't necessarily have to be frustrating for you. I also would say one of the highly recommended things: please don't start playing FIFA or any competitive game when you're not feeling fit or not feeling your best. Some people message me like I'm playing FIFA because it like comforts me or I just want to get my head cleared. Then I don't think the very competitive modes are good to actually play. You might just be easier off just, especially FIFA 23, honestly, like pro clubs or the full time mode along with it. We'll talk about that shortly, but that's actually really relaxing and really fun. That might be better for you to do than if your mindset is already negative before you start the game.
Yeah, I watched your guys play the foot club thing, and it looked like a lot of fun actually. So
It was, and thank you for watching us. Also, congratulations to the Pro Clubs teams because the team actually stayed in the division with some really hard work in the second half of the season. So we'll play championship level next year as well. And now we're aiming for the top. Ainsley, what is your most frustrating part about FIFA 22, and which would you like to see fixed?
Quitting at draw. So annoying. So many matches, either through on goal with the goalkeeper in the last minute and for the winner, or a penalty, and people just quit. And people quitting when they see your team, and you have to like try and try and try and try to be able to find a match when you have a decent team. And yeah, that's the most annoying thing for me. It's like you can sit for 10 minutes without finding a match sometimes because people either quit or yeah, when they see that they just dashboard before the game loads up. So that's what I really don't like. And when it's not fixed, it's doesn't make me happy to hear that.
a weekend league earlier this afternoon, I actually had someone go 2-0 up on me against another player. I would say I felt like I was kind of dominating the game a bit, but he did go 2 goals ahead. I pulled one back and he quit then. It's just like it's just weird.
I think in general, just time wasting or wasting the time you can actually spend on it. That's frustrating. You spoke about grinding the game. Like we're gonna talk about a series we'll be doing shortly with food coaching, but it's all about maximizing the time available in game. And if you have only a certain amount of hours each week where you can actually play, but it has happened that most of the time get wasted by people quitting and you don't benefiting from that. That is really frustrating to say the least, especially when time is limited. So I think if we would summarize it, people say, okay, the celebrations you can turn off, sounds you can turn it off, most of it you can turn away or turn it off. We can't fix anything about people quitting. That's EA's job, and they've got to fix it. We can't fix anything about golden goal mode. I think we've spoke about this before. There's many people that actually just want to get rid of those. Um, And I would highly advise every single player that plays FIFA online to just turn off your messages. And for every good message you get where people are willing to help you or talk about it, um, from experience, I'm willing to say there's about 10 negative messages as well. And you don't want that negativity in your life. So we'll end on a positive note. Simon, it's been lovely having you on, mate. For people that want to say hi or compliment you on, well, not only camera work because the lights turn off, but on your beautiful voice in this show, where can they find you?
So I'm in the Discord under ohbuggerit, so you'll find me there. I'm pretty active. So
That's his saying. Just check out, of course, patreon.com/foot and review to say hi to him. Ingve, where can people find you, mate?
They can find me on Twitter at Evgenoni, and they can find me in EA forums at LittleOn95, and of course our great Discord at LittleOn95.
Perfect. Thank you very much. You can find us, of course, on all social media platforms at Foot Coaching Now. So make sure you follow that account if you follow the Foot Reviews accounts earlier. You can find the show, of course, on youtube.com/foot coaching and on all platforms of choice for your way you're listening your podcast. You can find us literally everywhere now. Keeping please do keep us giving those 5-star reviews. That was good English, but you definitely get what I mean. So give us those 5-star reviews. Send in your remarks, questions, etc. All of them, and just say hi, and we'll be back shortly with a bang. And that means there's just one thing left to do. And what is that, guys?
Drop
it.
We're gonna drop it. See you next week, guys.
So yeah.